Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today I wanted to do some more shenanigans with Neon. I do really like Neon's kit, and there was something I noticed just fairly early on. I feel like she has a kit that's kind of exploitable a little bit with her kind of free turn shenanigans. So we're going to kind of abuse that here in this fight. So what I'm going to do here is I am running Neon's fight, so I wanted to show this off in like most current content to show that it is viable, it does work. And I'm running her with double off turn. So anytime you have a character that can kind of abuse a lot of free turns and things like that, running off turn is really effective with that. So we're going to run 7 with her traps, and we're going to run Kane dropping his spears from the sky, right? So we start off this fight a little bit more traditionally, where I'm kind of just getting things set up, getting all my off turn set up, and then we eventually will just like ramp into a force time. But what I really want to show in this video is kind of like an exploit. It's not really an exploit, right? Because it's intended. It's her kit. But just something you can do with her kit that I think is really fun and interesting, in that she has a lot of skill uses of her Asura attack, and it does a lot of damage. Now, in this team setup, it won't do as much damage because she isn't really getting properly supported. But in a proper setup, her Asura damage was doing like 1.3 million per shot, which is really good, right? And Asura is a free instant turn attack. So you can just spam it over and over, basically till you're out of skill uses. Well, the thing that I think is fairly abusable in her kit is once her EX is going, it charges pretty quick. And every time you pop the EX is also an instant turn. So you pop the EX, you get an instant turn. And then she gets 2 free skill uses in a row. And you can just double pop Asuras for free. And just basically you can chain off Neon turns for actually quite a long time with a lot of longevity, because once again, she has like 7 or 8 skill uses of Asura, but every time you pop that EX, you're getting 2 free attacks off without depleting skill uses. So I really just wanted to show that off in this fight because I thought it was pretty fun and interesting. You know, it's not the most traditional way to beat this fight. Obviously, you can stomp this with other methods, but just for those of you that pulled Neon, that just to know, like, this is something you can do with her. And I think there's a lot of use for this, like, in a pinch, like especially against an aggressive boss like this, where you kind of don't want them to take turns. Like, they can be pretty nasty pretty quick. You can chain off a very good amount of turns, where then you can either chain off until they're breakable or chain off till your summon's ready. You can kind of do stall out tactics with this, which I really like, right? So here I decided to bring in a selfie friend. And all the selfie, you know, I could put on launching here, but I kind of just wanted to get into things. Once again, if this were a more traditional fight where the bosses weren't so aggressive, I probably could have done the traditional, you know, selfie, use Rapture, and then wait till she comes around again, and then use Wall. Same when I get into Force Time. I don't really do much Echo, because I don't really feel like I can sit around too long and, like, give up the turns. Because, once again, you give these bosses a few turns and you're kind of done, right? So part of what this is showing is how I can just stay in front of the bosses, not give them very many turns. So yeah, Selfie's going to wall out, and that's going to get us pretty close to a force time. And then once again, we'll go through a force time. We'll actually do a lot of damage with just this double off turn type of setup. And once again, this is Neon really not properly supported and still doing very good numbers, and the off turn still looking very good for 7 and for Kane, especially for how old Kane is, right? Like, he's putting up pretty good numbers. So I decided to use a Luna Freya just so I could get a few things off in a row here. I kind of want to get like her BT effect, get her LD up, and kind of get some of that stuff going, and I didn't want to give up her turn. So this is another kind of stall tactic using Luna Freya. Give me some extra things, right? So here we go. We got the LD. So I had already put the BT on. So now we're going to get rainbow numbers with the LD. And now Kane, look, the spears are rainbow, right? So even though Kane's in the air, the BT aura still hits him, right? So that's good to know. And then, yeah, I decided to pop off an Inferno because that's just an attack I haven't done. Like, over a mil AoE, like, pretty good damage, right? Alright, and so now we can spam here a little bit and kind of see. I also have a summon ready at this point, so we've stalled out enough that we know that summons ready. So there's Asura. Look at that, 1.4 mils. I mean, that's really, really good damage, right? For that just free instant turn attack, and we can just chain those off. Oh yeah, she actually has a lot of skill. She has like 11 or 12 skill uses of it right there, right? So you can see we get a ton of skill uses of it. And then once again with the EX, we can just chain off and get free turns and really, really abuse that. Now, the one bad part about doing all this chaining that I'm going to be doing, so I decided to let her turn pass because I'm like, I've got summon. I kind of want to get up to a force time. The bad part about it is like her BT is going to fall off really quick, but it's not going to matter because the BT effect Like, there's good auras we're going to be losing, and that's part of the reason we're hitting like 1.4 mil right there. When the BT effect falls off, like, our damage is going to drop a little bit. I was checking who my snakebite enemy was, because I wanted to see what 7 could do with like an elemental lash there. And that, yeah, 1.5 mil for 7 there. Then dropping spikes, then dropping spears. Like, all the off turn gets a little bit crazy here, right? Yeah, it's very crazy. So I lost my train of thought, but anyways, this neon combo, I just really like it. I think it works out really well. Just that you can spam off all these turns. So Kayn dropped down again, so I'm just gonna get Kayn like immediately up in the air. Now we do get disrupted here by like a slight miscalculation. At some point we trigger their counter, which does disrupt us. But if you guys notice earlier on, I did put Raijin on, so the Raijin will keep us safe. So we're gonna be okay with that. But yeah, I was talking about the BT effect, right? So the BT gives really good auras, but the main focus of the BT is like to do, well, one, to make the debuff not go down when the allies take turns, and to like have that fire enchant on the party, right? Well, the thing is when we're chaining off like basically a ton of attacks with Neon, the BT effect falling off, like, yeah, we're going to lose auras, but the rest of it doesn't matter because the debuff will not decrease because Neon is always attacking. So we keep rainbow numbers basically the whole time as we're chaining off. And the fire enchant doesn't matter as much because the other allies aren't attacking either. So we kind of, this is what we'd call like a selfish Neon run, where like Neon is really the focus, and we let Neon do the brunt of the damage through exploiting her EX with Asura. And I think it's just a really cool combo. Like, it's just something fun you can do. So right there, I had it all set up where like Neon was going to go. They did their break counter thing. Because Kayn got missed, he actually leapt up to the front here. So Kayn like immediately comes back down. So we have to use our last LD to get him up in the air again. But I'm going to tell you this right now. At this point, after this point, Kayn stays up in the air the rest of the fight. And these enemies are at like 75%. Like, we've got a long ways to go. We keep Kayn up in the air the rest of the fight at this point. So it's kind of cool that we're going to get the really big time chaining off here, right? So once again, we got force effect up, so we're getting the really heavy force damage, which is good. So right here, we're going to start doing some crazy stuff with Neon. Now, it is tempting to do Echo here, but it's like, no, I want to start my combo. So right there, I actually should have EX'd. I actually missed that I had it up. That was my bad. So I should have led with the EX there, but we're going to hit the EX on the next attack. So as well as I do this, I could have done it more efficiently. So like, we actually will run out of skill uses a little bit sooner than we should have. So here's the EX, right? Doing really good damage. We're getting rainbow numbers the whole time. 75%. We're getting good gains on the force, right? But now watch what happens. Now we've got green attacks. And I talked about this in my tips and tricks video. If you don't know this, when you have green numbers on your attacks, that means they're free skill use. You will not deplete a skill use. She gets 2 of these after popping her EX. And since Asura is instant turn rate, this is a really nice combo because now it's just like double Asura for free. Like, for free. Machina has something similar to this where after he does his LD, I think he gets 1 free skill use, and I always use it on Awakening, because Awakening is literally free attack, free damage. Why not do it? Well, Neon's got it, and she can do it twice. Now you can see here, she's already got her EX up again. So this is what's kind of busted about it. So watch this. Watch carefully how the EX gauge handles here, right? So we're going to pop EX. We got full gauge, right? The thing that's busted about this combo is her EX already charges decently fast. Like, I think it's like 3 skill uses or something. But now watch where her gauge is on the EX. She gets to pop off these double Asuras, but they're also charging the EX gauge. So not only are you abusing the EX to get the free instant turn attacks, but then they are in turn charging the EX gauge for you as you're building. Look at that. That was a quarter of her EX gauge right there. So basically, when you're done with the free attacks, you're only a quarter of the, like, you're 75% filled. So literally it's like, go through the combo, get your EX, do your free attacks, and then it's like, do 1 attack, get the EX, get 2 free, do 1 attack, do the EX, get 2 free. Like, you can do this for such a long time. Like, it's crazy. So basically, we do this combo for the entirety of the rest of the fight. So we just ended Force. Now, Force obviously took out a big chunk of damage. We got him down to 21%. But now without Force, it does take time to get them down, right? Because their damage isn't nearly as high. You can see now that the BT effect is off. Instead of hitting like 1.4 mil, we're hitting like 800K. So our damage has dipped a lot. But we've still got the rainbow numbers. We've still got the off turn. And once again, the off turn isn't crazy at this point. But it all adds up. And it's all just free. And the other thing that we're doing here while we're staying in front of the enemies is you can see we are slowly but surely just breaking them to oblivion. So as their break gauge refills, we keep breaking them, keep pushing them back. So there's a lot of strategy to this. In that, like I said, you can use it to quick build up before summon to stop an enemy from attacking you. You can build up to keep breaking them back. And you can do a delay strategy that way, right? And you could do something like, let's say you do all of this and you peter out, you're out of skill uses. Well, we're only really using the 15 CP. She still has LD skill uses. She still has a force skill use. She still has her 35. Like, she could still go for a very long fight after this. We're just basically abusing, and the EX never runs out. So as long as you keep charging that, and here's the thing, you can't chain the turns up, but in terms of longevity of a fight, you can see how much we're getting out of just utilizing the 15 CP attack, the Asura attack. Well, keep in mind, even though when we go to use the 35 attack, it's not instant turn rate, you're still eventually going to get EX attacks, and then you're going to get 2 free attacks of her 35. Her longevity is crazy because of this EX. I think this is, and maybe this is something that's a little overlooked with Neon that maybe people don't talk about enough, because, you know, it's all about the fire enchant and the rainbow numbers. Like, that's what people really talk about with her. But just her as an individual character, being able to just chain off like this, like, I don't know of another character that can spam this much. I mean, you would have to compare to someone like Terra, but Terra, it's literally like you use her, 3 or 4 LD skill uses and she gets a bunch of turns each time. This seems like it's almost more chainable. Like, I could just do this longer, even though it's not tied to, like, getting 4 turns back to back to back to back. It's every time you pop the free EX, which has unlimited skill uses, you get 2 free skill uses, and then you can use that. So, yeah, once again, I just thought this was a cool combo and wanted to make a video on it. I did talk about it, like, when I did her character guide. I like, realized this combo right away, and I believe I made a comment about, yeah, like, do her EX and then double Asura every time. So even if you're doing a traditional fight and you're not, like, trying to just spam this out with Neon, like, let your characters take their turns, but anytime Neon gets her EX, just go back to back with Asura and just pop off a bunch of damage. Because one way you can think about it is this: when you're thinking about, like, her per turn damage, realistically on her EX turn, you could combine her EX with 2 Asuras and say that was her, like, 1 turn damage, right? So, like, I think her EX, like, in a proper setup is doing, like, 1.4, 1.5 mil, and the Asuras are also doing 1.4, 1.5 mil, so you're pretty much doing that times 3, and that's basically taking up 1 turn. So you're looking at, like, 4.5 million in 1 turn, which is pretty good, and that's not under, like, a force time, right? So then under a force time, you're getting more. Now, you probably don't want to do it as much during a force because you're eating up force turns, but I showed you here, in terms of my force usage, this was very not optimal. I barely echoed. I didn't, like, prioritize doing a burst phase or anything crazy like that, right? This was just showing off this mechanic, and even in just showing off this mechanic, doing a very non-optimized force time, just basically doing this mechanic during a force, which you normally wouldn't want to do, still did very good damage, right? This is with double off turn. But yeah, this is just, like, kind of an abusable setup. It's really fun. I just really, really enjoyed it. So I'm not doing this to try to get more people to pull for Neon if you didn't. Like, if you didn't, like, just leave her be. Like, look forward to the next thing coming. But I just wanted to show this for maybe people that did invest in Neon. Here's another fun thing y'all can do. Pretty darn cool here. So yeah, we're about to wipe them out. Now, the one thing that does get a little bit dangerous with this is if you're not in a force time, right, like what I'm doing here, like, the enemy's force gauge will build up on you. Like, you're not going to take them out super fast doing this. So the one thing that probably would have done us in here is had we let them get their force, they probably, I've never seen them actually get their force time, but they probably one-shot us, because with how aggressive these guys are, I would not doubt if they just, like, one-shot us, right? But we did enough damage with 1 force time to still be able to spam this afterwards, and I was glad that, like, I didn't just kill him in the force, because I just wanted to show you, like, look how long, like, this is the same Neon that was, like, this is the same Neon that started the combo when the enemies were at, like, 75% health. Kane is still up in the air from that last jump, which it was looking pretty bad for Kane because he had used his skill uses up too quick. And there you go. Neon basically solos the fight with just the off turn of the other 2 characters, abusing the EX Asura combo. So anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think of Neon. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.